members of council. I'm Art Kelnis with Bar Engineering Company. I'm project manager for this project, working with a team of others here from AET, American Engineering Testing, Joe Bentler, who is also here. They're doing the geotechnical analysis on this. Also working with Odenwald Engineering on a lot of the local coordination with the city utilities and that, and then also Blumentritt Land Surveying out of Winona, who's doing a lot of the easements and property issues. So here to just kind of give you a quick focus, all right? It's also, I gave you a handout with these, oh, there we go. That was my glasses for a second. And also, these are also in the handout that I gave you, and also you received a set of the most recent preliminary construction drawings that will be used for the construction moving forward. There are some pages related to riprap repairs that are not in there yet, but the rest should be included. So these improvements are needed to meet FEMA's standards for levees. In other words, what FEMA has required is that all levees now be certified for the area that they protect to be removed from the floodplain. So based on evaluations that were done last year, one of the key issues was under seepage. And that issue relates to the levee itself is built out of a good clay material, but it's put over native soils that have sands and gravels in them. So there during a flood, tends to be a lot of seepage that comes under the levee. And the concern with that is, as it comes out on the interior side, it could take soil with it, create boils, and cause erosion that could cause a failure of the system. So we're putting in some seepage collectors in low points, at various points along the levee. We'll show you those here in the next slide, to collect that seepage and let it safely enter the ground surface on the site without causing that erosion. In areas where we have tight properties, where we just don't have much room to put the seepage collector, because we're basically constructing that by digging a trench and backfilling it with sand. In areas where we have tight properties or it's deep, we're using relief wells, which are, just holes we dig in the ground at a certain spacing, and they would be backfilled with sand and gravel. An area where the levee is too low is along Highway 43. So north of the Rush Creek Bridge, we're building a new earthen embankment on the east side of Highway 43 near the school ball fields and that there. So that is to raise the levee there, because currently it's a foot and a half too low at its lowest point. There's also a small 100-foot section near the trail bridge where the levee's probably ½ inch or less too low, so we're going to be putting a little topsoil there to raise that.
Half an inch.
Half a foot, I'm sorry. Half a foot. I misspoke. 6 inches, half a foot or so. Yeah, ½ inch we wouldn't be missing.
I wouldn't be surprised if we'd have to go.
There's areas where we're acquiring some easements to meet the Corps of Engineers setback standards. The Corps has a standard that the area 15 feet from the toe of the levee inward has to be free of vegetation and utilities and that. So these easements are an attempt to secure that land so that we can meet those requirements. There's other work that we've included that would not necessarily be needed for certification, but is included, and that's some repair to the riprap along the base of Rush Creek, and also some portable pumps. This is the levee A system on the south part of the mountain. So this is Highway 43, wastewater treatment plant is over here to the right. So there's a few areas we're going to put in the seepage collector on the south part of town. Moving along to the north part of downtown, this would be levee A. So north would be to the right here. This is Rush Creek. There's a minor area up here by the substation, some areas here kind of off of Winona and Maple Street where we'll need the seepage collector. And then 3 areas where it's low along, what is that, Ferry Street there, where we'll put the seepage collector. Moving on to the north levee, which is levee C. This is the area north of Rush Creek and along Highway 43 and west of Highway 43. The area to the right here is where we're going to put that earthen embankment to raise the level there east of Highway 43 that involves some additional work there to redo the trail that goes down there, some efforts to drain water, to relocate the droop ditch, and also to relocate a sanitary sewer. There's a seepage collector here by the park and the lift station. Off to the west, we've got areas where we're putting in relief wells and grading a ditch, and there's the two green areas are areas where we need that easement to meet the Corps setback requirements. Moving on to the Brooklyn side, or Levy D, this is the east side again. North is to the right here. It fits to make it fit on the page. The area all along kind of just east of where that levee is, we need either a combination of relief wells or the seepage collector. On the north part here where we've got kind of the tight property boundaries, we're putting in relief wells. And then kind of along Maple Street and extending to the south, and then down kind of into that stormwater area, we've got the seepage collector. There's a few minor areas where we're going to be putting fill. And then this box here just kind of shows the extent of where we'll be just supplementing some of the riprap there by putting additional riprap at the base of the slope. So from a technical standpoint, the next step are to complete the plans and specifications. Once we get those done, we'll be submitting those to the Corps of Engineers for review and concurrence. Also, for the riprap repairs along Rush Creek, we'll need a DNR protected waters permit. Also, since there's work that is occurring on MnDOT right-of-way and highway right-of-way, we will need their review and a permit from them for the work we're doing. As I mentioned, we'll need easement acquisitions. The easement we'll need for construction is a temporary construction access on the Froyland property. This is on the north levee to get access in to do the repairs. We'll need easement or permission from the MnDOT on the right-of-way and then the school district, and then as I mentioned, the other easements are to meet the Corps setback requirements. Next steps from the city of Rushford standpoint is to await the state bonding bill decision. The city applied for a grant through the Department of Natural Resources, and that grant is part of the state's bonding bill, which is, I understand, currently being reconsidered at the legislative level.
To clarify, it's
Yes.
this year's bonding bill.
Yes.
Okay, so we have half of this paid for from last year's bonding bill.
No, my understanding is that the proceeds would be with this bonding bill that's to
Okay.
be approved.
Very good.
Then the other part of that is identifying the city's source of the funding for that project. Once we get kind of the approvals from the Corps of Engineers and MnDOT, then we would look to the city to authorize receiving bids for the project, and then, given that the bids are acceptable, authorize construction. So, any questions?
We look on slide 6.
Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to make that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any thought about, or was there any thought about trying to eliminate this big loop in here so that the water would flow a little quicker? And what about the opportunity to widen that a little bit?
Yeah.
The riprap, I'm sure, the old riprap has attracted some sediment and stuff over time. Aren't we just losing a capacity battle?
Yeah, what we're finding though is the levee in this area, like upstream, see typically a restriction here would affect this part of the levee upstream, because it's a backwater effect. So if there's something that impedes flow, such as a bridge, it always backs up upstream of that, like a dam. So any repairs here would not affect any results in here, because in this point the levee is high enough. So we could do those things, but it really wouldn't change the scope of what we're doing. We would still have to do all that work.